Hello, in this video I'm going to discuss one of the documents that can be printed for a project into a map web, the itinerary and rates. This document is part of the file set, printed and included in the hard copy file. See the tutorial on the file set for more details. To print the itinerary, under Print, click on Itinerary and Rates. There are several options in terms of how to display and send the itinerary. The default selection depends on the parameters defined for the client and project. For a detailed look at the topic, see the tutorial on printing and sending the itinerary. To print, click Print and Print. Considering the basic default display, the document has several sections: the front page, header and map, recap, day-by-day itinerary, rates, rooming list, what our rates include and exclude, and sales conditions. The front page indicates the company or client logo, project status, country in, a high-quality image representative of the in-country, project heading, and the name and email address of the consultant in charge of the file with a picture and some details about the experience and interests of the consultant, if entered in the system. The header indicates the company or client logo, the project stage, the itinerary heading, duration, client and client reference, heading, and reference. The map shows the route which the itinerary follows as illustration and context for the itinerary. It starts in the in location and ends at the out location. Flights are indicated with a blue dotted line, land travel in red. The direction of travel is indicated with an arrow. The tracing must be logical. A red line where the flight should be, or zigzagging, might indicate a missing service, a problem with the service order, an incorrect service selection, or a problem with the in and out location. The little numbers on the map show the dates they'll spend in each location. The recap gives a quick overview of the content of the itinerary, indicating for each day the itinerary day, date and weekday, transfers and visits, with an N indicating a suggestion not included in the rates, and an O that is linked to an optional, meal plan, bed and breakfast, dinner bed and breakfast, lunch dinner bed and breakfast, overnight area and accommodation provider, and accommodation category, being the company's evaluation of the category according to local standards. The day-by-day itinerary shows for each day the itinerary day number, the date of the service, the weekday, location where the itinerary for the day starts and ends. All the services for the day appear in chronological order as they are in service timing. Information displayed depend on the nature of the service, sometimes a description of what it entails, such as for activities, and sometimes details of the service, provider, locations, times, etc. Whatever information is necessary to present the information clearly and attractively to enable the client to understand and sell it. The first date of the itinerary is the in date, except if is overnight is ticked for the flight, in which case it is a day earlier. Similarly, the last day of the itinerary is the out date, except if is overnight is ticked for the out flight, in which case it is a day later. The rates section shows the rates applicable to the setup and details of the project. If the project is set to invoice package rates, the package rates are displayed. Once such a project is booked, an invoice simulation is displayed as well, and optionals are treated differently, with booked optionals appearing with a separate but included rate and not to be booked optionals under optionals. If the project is set to invoice detailed rates without names entered, it displays the detailed quote, and with names entered, rates per passenger as well. Once the project is booked, optionals are treated differently, with booked optionals appearing with a separate but included rates under other services and not to be booked optionals under optionals. The rate for each passenger reflects the per person total, including optionals plus or minus the supplements or reductions applicable. For example, standard per person sharing rate for Darius Mr. per person sharing for each of the services, plus his share of the vehicle. Child reduction rate being the standard per person sharing rate minus the child reductions. The third person sharing reduced rate being the standard per person sharing rate minus the third person reductions. And the single supplemented rate being the standard per person rate plus the single supplements. And, where applicable, including optionals participated in. The rooming list section shows the rooming list or lists indicating the heading, whether it is the main packs list, the number of passengers, the number and type of rooms, and once entered, the passenger names. The Our Rates Include section displays at a minimum luggage and porterage and local taxes. Further details depend on the content of the project. If the project includes accommodation, the number of nights is displayed. If any of these is in a private game reserve, this is specified. The number of breakfast, lunches and dinners included, car rental and transport with guide is displayed, as well as any flights included. If there are optionals in the project, this section indicates the type and heading of the services on optional. For a booked project, only optionals defined as not to be booked are displayed here. Booked optionals are treated in the text as though included. The Our Rates Exclude section displays at a minimum international flights, tips and personal expenses, unless otherwise indicated. Further details depend on the content of the project. Flights defined as not included in our rates in the project are displayed. If any of the services in the project have special conditions of sale, it displays. Please check Special Conditions. The Sales Conditions section displays payment, cancellation, and general conditions applicable for the project as a whole, as defined for the client. Payment conditions determine when invoices are due. If the client is on account, add final check. If the client is not on account, deposits and/or prepayments are due. Cancellation conditions determine the calculation of cancellation fees should the project be cancelled. General conditions displays conditions that apply to the company as well as country-specific information displayed depending on the countries in the itinerary. South Africa for a project in South Africa, or South Africa and Zimbabwe for such a project, or for a project in South Africa, Zimbabwe and Botswana. The conditions are displayed for all three countries in the order that they appear in the itinerary. If any of the services in the project have special sales conditions, these are displayed between cancellation and general conditions. Here for Europcar and the Karoo National Park. For the affected services, these special conditions override the general conditions should the payment or cancellation policy be stricter. And that is it. Thank you for watching.